Welcome to Tabernacle Talk. Tabernacle Talk is a Bible study podcast brought from Tabernacle Baptist Church in Essex, Maryland. I'm your host, Brian Self. We hope this podcast encourages you to know Christ, grow in His Word, and show His love to others. Let's dive right in. Welcome back to Tabernacle Talk. Hope that you're having a great day today. We are in Psalm 55 and verse number 22 for our verse for the day. Psalm 55 and verse number 22. And this is honestly a really interesting psalm. This is one from David. I've attached in the show notes the full podcast episode that I did on Psalm 55. And so I'm not going to go over the entire psalm. I'll summarize it by this. David is talking, and he's talking about the burden that he's going through of having people all around him that are acting wickedly, that are betraying him, even close friends. And certainly as you read through the chapter, it calls to mind Jesus and Judas Iscariot's relationship. And I'm pretty sure I drew that out when we were in Psalm 55. But I love this, that even though David is going through incredible hardships and difficulties, betrayal, all of that, he says this in verse number 22. He says, "Cast your burden on Yahweh, and He will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken." Going to read through that one more time. "Cast your burden on Yahweh, and He will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken." I love these. What a great truth. I'm certain Peter also had this verse in mind, even when he wrote 1 Peter 5 and verse number 8. Be anxious for nothing. Don't be anxious about anything, but cast all your anxieties on the Lord because He cares for you. And here we're called to cast our burdens on Yahweh. And I think for many of us, we know that we've got burdens. Whether it's financial, whether it's relational, whether it's maybe on like a governmental or national scale. I know many people these days consistently carry burdens where they're fearful about perhaps who's in charge, who's not in charge on a national scale, on maybe a local or a state scale. And they worry about the choices that are made that will then influence their lives, who's making those decisions, whether justice will or will not be done. Many people can be burdened about many things. And sometimes it's our own health and health struggles that burden us down. And I love this word cast. This is to throw, to eject, to dispose of, to drag off and throw away, to throw it down, to scatter it. I just love how rich this word is, that God just says, I want you to get rid of it, like spill it, throw it, throw the burdens, and it says on Yahweh. This is a prayer that I've been learning to pray in my own life, which is, God, this is your problem. In my life, I've got my kids, I've got my wife, I've got my church, and the people that God has called me to shepherd. And when I have maybe some problems with any of those things, and I'm praying for, people in my church that need a job, need a place to stay, need some financial relief, when I'm praying for my wife and, the difficulty that she has to go through and having me as her husband, when I'm praying for, my kids, that they would come to know the Lord, the prayer that I'm praying is, God, they belong to you. These are yours. So when it's like people in my church, it's, God, these are your sheep. And all I can do is guide them to the pasture. All I can do is guide them to where you have directed. I can't meet all of their needs, but I know that you can. With my kids, it's, God, these are your kids first. Like, yes, Samantha and I created them, but ultimately they're yours, and you're the creator of everything. And so, God, I want them to know you, but I also know that you want that relationship with them even more than I want them to have that relationship with you. And so, God, if they're going to be saved, God, I know that it's going to come through you. That I say, God, if anything's going to happen, it has to happen through you. And I love the confidence. It, to me, almost feels a little arrogant when I read through the psalmists saying these kinds of things, or when I read through this past Sunday from the time of recording, I preached on Daniel 9 and Daniel's prayer request where he's like, hey, God, we sinned. We messed up. That's why Israel was exiled and why Jerusalem was destroyed. It was our fault because of our sin. And you were right in everything that you did. He says, but we're called by your name, like we're Israel. We're called by the name of our God. And Jerusalem is the city of the Jews. It's the city of Israel, the city of God. And he says, God, everyone thinks that Israel and Jerusalem are like, they're a laughingstock. They're a joke right now. And he says, God, even though we did this, this is your problem. He says, for the sake of your name, your reputation is on the line. And so God, like, restore and give us mercy and bring us back in, not as a result of us like having earned it in any way, but for your sake, because this is your problem. It's not ultimately our problem. And there's something in that is so, I'm certain it's my flesh that kind of grates against that I say, no, what? I can't say that to God. But that's how the prophets and the psalmists continually talk to God. They say, God, who is going to tell everyone how awesome you are if I'm dead? So you need to save me from my enemies so that I can tell everyone how awesome you are. And it's just such a like refreshing, it puts the ball in God's court. It's me saying, God, if anything's going to happen, this is you. Like, God, this is your church. And if you want your church to be bankrupt, like, that's on you. But God, if you want this place to continue, preaching the gospel and this and that, then you better take care of our needs. God, for my health, God, I want to be out and about, and I want to be able to share you with people, and I want to be able to have those gospel conversations, and I want to be able to be there for my family and have them see, my love for them and see me still be with them and enjoying time. And so, God, if that's going to happen, you've got to do it. You've got to transform. You've got to heal. You've got to protect. And I think that's such a refreshing outlook. It's not in a way like Satan, I think, of saying when he tempted Jesus in the wilderness, oh, just command the stones to be made bread. And Jesus says, no, like it's not that one, though that certainly is also a temptation of Jesus, all that. But when he says, throw yourself off the temple, and the angels will protect you. And he says, haven't you read, don't tempt the Lord your God? Not in a way that demands that God covers for your refusal to obey him. It's not that you gamble all of your paycheck away and then say, listen, God, I want to have people over at my home so I can, have a Bible study with them. And so if I'm going to keep my home, then you need to provide the money for me. Not like that. But as you are actually walking with the Lord, that then gives us some standing to be like, Lord, you've seen that I have used this car to accomplish everything that you want for my life. I've been driving to my job and providing for my family. I have loved my family. I've used the car to, give people from church that needed a ride. I've given them a ride. Lord, I've driven to gospel conversations. I've driven to these things. This is something that is dedicated to you. And so, God, I'm asking right now, this vehicle is undergoing some difficulties. And so, Lord, you need to take care of this. It's casting your burden on him to say, God, this belongs to you and you need to fix it or restore it or heal it or whatever the case may be. And to me, that is a challenge. Like it is ultimately a statement of faith to say there's no earthly reason why this circumstance should change. But I believe that it belongs to God. And so because of my belief in God, I'm going to call on God to save it and to rescue it. And I think that we will be amazed time and time and time again as we throw our burdens at God, that he is really good at catching them and solving the things that we could never solve on our own. And I love that it says he will sustain you. I want to look at this word real quick. He takes hold of us. He keeps us. He, it's like sustained with food. He will satiate your needs as you throw your burdens on him, that you are able to endure and to bear the circumstances that you are going through. And then I love the statement that David ends with there. He says, he will never allow the righteous to be shaken. This is to be made to stagger, to totter, to reel away from their position. And there's probably a lot of ways that you could interpret this, and several would probably be accurate. I'm going to just kind of walk you through, we're at the very last portion of this episode, so I'll kind of walk you through kind of my mindset as I'm going, okay, how do I interpret this? What do I take from this? Okay, we're in Psalms, so this is Hebrew poetry, so all of the lines are meant to be interpreted together. So we're talking about burdens that we have, God's sustaining of us through times of difficulty, and that's the kind of thing that is being shaken. When your faith is shaken, I think here even the statement, he will never allow the righteous to be shaken, that God wants to retain us within our relationship with him, that we would not stumble away and fall into sin and wickedness as a result of the burdens that we bear, that we are throwing on God, saying, God, I'm exhausted. I am famished. I am thirsty. I am parched. And so I can't carry this burden anymore. I'm chucking it at you. God will satiate us. He will carry the burden for us. He will fill our souls. And as a result, our posture of I am a God believer will not be shaken or undone as a result of the burdens that we have and the resulting kind of soul or literal exhaustion that we feel. And I'm thankful that God sustains us within his plan. I think of Philippians 1:6, one of my favorite verses, that says that he who has begun a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. That if God started the work, God is going to finish the work. Or in Hebrews 12, Jesus is described as the author and perfecter, or the starter and the finisher of our faith. And I love that if God started you off on this journey, he will bring it to completion. And I'm so thankful that I have a God that sustains me in every season of life. And I want you to know that your God is able to sustain you. He cares about you. He will refill your soul that right now feels so empty. He will carry the burdens that right now feel like they are crushing you. And right now, though it feels you're on shaky ground and you're going to fall away, God will never allow that to happen. So throw your burdens to God. Demand that he act in accordance with his will and his character based on what he has said that he will do, and find out over and over again that your God is mighty to save. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope that it's been an encouragement to you. See you next episode.